You're listening to Relatable with Stephanie Michelle, only on LA Talk Radio.
Welcome back to the Halloween episode of Relatable. I'm Sadness, or more accurately, age progression sadness. Aging makes me sad. My favorite color is blue. Any shade of blue will do. Lots of things in the world make me sad. Bullies make me sad. People without love in their heart make me sad. People existing only to barely keep up make me sad. Keeping this voice up makes me sad. I can't do it anymore. So if you're wondering by now why was I inspired to dress up like a kid's character from the movie Inside Out in 2015, well, I'll tell you. The movie is attached to a favorite memory of mine. I got to watch it in Texas with my nieces and nephews. Shout out to Aaron, who had a birthday this week, and Lauren and Jacob and Caleb and Skylar. I also love the message of this movie. It's about the emotions that take place in a 12-year-old girl's head. And the emotions that she has are sadness, anger, disgust, joy, and fear. And each of them have a character in the story. But at first, sadness is considered not a helpful character. She's actually considered kind of a nuisance in the story. But her character moves into action to help others, and she actually becomes the hero of the story. So sadness uses her sadness to inspire action. And I think that's the message of the movie. Whether you're using sadness, anger, fear, disgust, or joy, as long as it's putting you into action to create some positive change, that's a good thing to focus on. Now, not all actions will turn out as you hope for, which I'm going to demonstrate in a couple minutes, but I'm really starting to realize that the best I can do is lean into loving the journey and continuing to try again. So before I share my little mishap and some tricks and treats of this episode, let me introduce this treat sitting next to me.
Hello.
Hello. So this is Angel Anderson. She is a good friend of mine. She is the handmaiden, of course, and she's the CEO and co-founder of Nail Snap, something that I consider extremely cool, and we're going to talk about it more in the show. But it's basically an app that you can take a picture of anything, like anything social, anything that you want, and put it on your nail. And it's like salon quality. Like sometimes I use it. I've never told you this. Sometimes I use it when I break a nail, and I'm like, ooh, a little bandage. That's cool. I'm like,
nail
it's a pro. Yeah, exactly. So I love it. But before she did Nail Snap, she was this badass user experience design, a VP of UX design for clients like Old Navy, Domino's, and American Express. Her vision and product design expertise has helped Nail Snaps win coveted design awards heralded by Star Beauty, Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and beauty influencer Michelle Phan, and as must-have beauty and fashion tech. Woohoo! And I know Halloween happens to be one of your favorite holidays because you like it because there's few rules to it.
Exactly.
Right?
You can just be very creative, but nobody's going to judge you. If you don't feel like going out, if you just want to watch scary movies and carve a pumpkin, that's okay too.
Or if you're costumed and turn out exactly as planned.
Yeah, it's just about being creative and having fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, so Angel has a surprise for us, a treat later. So you got to stay tuned for that. But I'm going to reveal my little mishap, the action that I tried to take that didn't quite turn out the way that it was supposed to. So I thought it would be cute to dress my dog as Anger. Anger in Inside Out is a red character. He wears a red tie, and he has his hair sets on fire when he's angry. So it's like this mix of orange and red. So I got the orange and red hair gel. I ordered a red tie for him. It got lost in the mail, and so at the last minute I had to find something new. Well, the red tie was attached to a business suit. So, without further ado, I got this. Here, buddy.
Uh-oh.
I got this little guy that somehow ended up, can you see his tie? Looking more like Donald Trump than anger, which now he has something to be angry for. And I'm inspired by that. So we felt, I lost my note. I felt like, if I'm going to put him through dressing like Donald Trump, I'm going to tell everybody why my dog would make a better president than Donald Trump.
He could also go with my costume. He could be Mr. Waterford.
Oh, he could, yeah. There's lots of things. I'm going to change him. He's very punk rock, too, so I could take this off and it could be a whole other thing. But before I make this list, for those of you that are like, oh, she's about...
your water. Now he's going to really make you sad.
That's my water. He's like, hey, my name's on the mug. I mean, you referenced my dog as being a thing. Good job, Deets. They tell you never to work with children and dogs and children and animals, and we're starting to learn this right now. But I'm going to read a list of 10 reasons, top 10 reasons why my dog would be a better president than Donald Trump. And for those of you that are like, oh, that's so unpatriotic, you're making fun of the president. Well, as I said earlier, I don't like bullies, and I think bullies are fair game. And I'm also very patriotic because I'm practicing the First Amendment. So to you on that if you think I'm unpatriotic for doing this. So here's the top 10 reasons. Deeds, are you thirsty? That's hilarious. Here's the top 10 reasons why Mr. Deeds would make a better president than Donald Trump.
Despite his drinking problem.
Despite his drinking problem. Number 10. When he does something wrong, he admits it with a slow walk and sad eyes before he covers you with kisses and begs for your forgiveness.
Oh,
good one,
he's
huh?
remorseful. He shows remorse.
He
That's
shows remorse.
Quality.
He was born, I don't know if you can see this, but he's got what's called cherry eyes. So he was born with a pre-existing medical condition, so he knows the importance of getting health care right. He does not tweet. He has no ties to Russia. He's empathetic to real hardship. Before he was rescued by yours truly, he spent time on the streets, hard time. He's obedient and interested in enforcing the laws, not breaking them. He demonstrates this daily with skateboarders and cyclists who enter into the walking path. His tiny little paws have no interest in touching the nuke button. He does not know what nepotism is. So just like every human he meets, he makes them earn his trust with experience and knowledge before bringing them into his inner circle. He has way better hair.
Way better.
Way better hair. And number one reason why my dog would make a better president than Donald Trump, although he has sniffed many butts with mutual consenting sniffs, he has never grabbed anyone by the pussy. So there you go. Happy Halloween, buddy. And I'm probably going to take this off because I think it's hot.
Yeah.
He's going to have a costume change while we get to know you.
Okay.
All right? See, there's anger right there. That's what I expected when I lifted him up. Now he's going to do it. So everyone that sits in the chair that you're sitting in that comes on the show, I always ask, like, before we just start talking about our topic for the day, like, is there anything that you want to get off your chest, like anything that you just is pulling you, it's kind of a distraction that you want to talk about?
I think, what's happening in the news this morning with Manafort being indicted, I think my costume is more timely and relevant than ever. If you haven't watched Handmaid's Tale or Handmaiden's Tale, it's really about a dystopian future where women have become subjugated to the point where they really are only 3 roles that a woman can have. She can either be a wife or a Martha or cook, or finally a handmaiden, which makes her essentially a sex slave to the male leaders of this new religious movement, where she's forcibly raped and made to bear children for these leaders. When we talked about sexualization in costumes, I thought, what better way to signal my anger around our current administration, but also my confusion, my own personal confusion, because there's really no good choices for women in costumes, which I know we're going to get into later, than to wear a costume like this, which represents sexuality, sexiness, but also is completely like asexualizing and dehumanizing me by actually hiding my actual face, which I think I'm going to go ahead and take this off.
Good, yeah.
Just so you can see me a little bit better, and I can see you. Hey.
Now you do look like Red.
We've just like little Red Riding Hood.
I wish I should have brought something to take off.
I still have my messenger bag, so I can go get Mr. Waterford's groceries.
But you could also use that to go to grandmother's house.
Yeah,
so it totally works.
It's not a basket, though. It's distinctions.
It's
make
well,
all the,
you know, it's a new day and age. Yeah, I'm feeling that too. I'm definitely feeling that too. We both didn't go sexy for this morning. I did wear sexy shoes. I had to like put something on.
I did dress up sexy on Saturday night, and
yeah.
I think, you know, the whole thing about sexy costumes is, you know, I certainly don't want to slut shame anyone for dressing sexy. I occasionally want to dress sexy, and part of the fun of Halloween is it's one of the few nights where you can actually use every trick in the book that you've had crammed into your feminine being since you were like a small child. You know, hike them up, put on the fishnets, lots of lipstick, lots of everything, and nobody's going to slut shame you on Halloween. So it's the one night of the year where you can really get away with like using all of those tips and tricks in your feminine wiles toolkit, and it's kind of okay. At the same time, I also love that a lot of women decide not to go super sexy, and I think it's really important to embrace the fact that if we really want to treat women fairly, we have to allow them to have both options, and both options need to be okay. Well,
and the options are their options, them making the decision. Like if you have someone saying, well, you know, I love Halloween because you get to wear that sexy dress. So like, it's like, no, you know, I get to decide what I'm going to wear. Like what identity I want to play with, or you know, what character I'm really inspired by right now, and want to be able to talk about that as I go to different parties and interact with people.
True, but like, we can't pretend though that the options that we have to choose from, we're still playing within a system that gives us kind of a very binary, you know, you can dress slutty or you can dress, you know, not slutty. And you make choices. You know that if you dress in this sexy construction worker costume, you're going to get a certain amount of attention. And if you choose to wear a costume like this, you might end up not, you know, getting a lot of attention at the party and not maybe meeting somebody.
Some good conversations.
Sure, lovely conversations.
But imagine, you know, my sister, who I mentioned all of her children in the opening because I watched that Inside Out with her, she commented and said that, yeah, you know, imagine having a daughter, you know, that's coming into age, and like we go and look at costumes, and here's all the hero costumes for the boys, and then everything is kind of sexualized
even
for the girls.
Kids. Like you can buy like a little baby.
Well, you can be a princess.
Yeah, a princess. Well, so it's about being diminutive and submissive and sweet and pretty, or being hypersexualized. Even when you're things like a baby bat. I saw a baby bat costume that had like kind of like fishnets, and it was intended for 4-year-olds.
I a few years ago, I don't even know if my mom and my stepdad know the story. So when my stepdad turned 50, I think we threw him a surprise birthday party, and it was his wildest hunting excursion come true because he's a big hunter, right? And so all the guests were told to dress like an animal. And so as I was researching costumes, like, and just looking, like scrolling through pages, like I found a sexy Care Bear costume. Care Bear. And I bought it because it was so ridiculous. I didn't end up wearing it to the party because it was too much. It was like, there was nothing to it. But even that, you know, like I laugh. I often say, like, oh, does a minion really need to be sexy? Like, can't we just have a little fun? Like, you know. But
well, those are the choices. And I think those choices kind of came along with the hyper-commercialization of Halloween, which really happened in the 80s. All of like the party cities and the spirit Halloweens, that whole phenomenon exploded in the 80s. And now you have millennials who kind of grew up in that era of hyper-commercialized Halloween, where they expect to be able to go and buy a packaged Halloween. I remember my mom being kind of horrified by the whole packaged Halloween costume, because she took great pride in being very creative with us. And she'd always made our Halloween costumes. Sometimes they turned out amazing, other times not so much, but the creativity that went into them, I think that was a big part of the fun for our whole family. And so I really kind of rejected the whole prefab Halloween costume too, not necessarily just because it was sexy, but because it was just, you know, kind of taking all the creativity and fun right out of it. It's not creative and fun if it's just buy it in a bag. It's kind of like my cooking, which is just open a Trader Joe's bag and voila. So yeah, it's not really cooking.
It's not really it's like all of those things that you can buy in a bag. They're like highly flammable. They're the worst material like ever. Like you don't want to like be in that for like hours at a party.
This will torch in a second if we start smoking. So.
We're not going to smoke. He hated this. When I put this on, he was like, what is the sound of this? Like the spray, it was scary. All right, so Halloween. So let's go back a little bit. Like, we talked about moms making costumes. Like, what's your earliest Halloween memory?
My earliest Halloween memory.
I really want to drink my water. My dog just drank my water.
You can have some of mine.
He's like, he's kind of like claiming it too. He's like, I got the mouse. I decide when the show ends and starts.
Well, and very much like his costume, he's decided to sort of
now
take
he's a rebel.
over.
Yeah, he's a rebel.
Now okay. Now we can have more favorable feelings.
Oh, he could have been. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. You sort of put onto person the costume that they are being. So, like, if a person is dressed up as Trump, you might ascribe certain characteristics to them that person doesn't have. Yeah. That's another fun thing about Halloween, is that you can sort of adopt the persona of heroes, which is why I think it's so great that, there's a Wonder Woman costume that's really popular this year. Mm-hmm. Granted, it's still a little bit skimpy, and you have to have a lot of body confidence to rock the Wonder Woman look. But, I'm glad at least that there are more comic book characters that are for women, about women, and celebrating women. Yeah. But back to your question about memories, my first memory of a really intense Halloween costume was actually when I decided at 7 to dress up as a hooker.
Mm-hmm. How'd that happen?
Well, I think I saw like something about flappers, and in my mind, flappers and hookers, it was all kind of mixed together.
You probably didn't even know what hooker meant. Did you?
I kind of did, and I kind of didn't. What's shocking to me now, in hindsight, is that my mom let me dress up as this, and she let me kind of put together whatever that meant to me, which was my tap dance leotard and fishnets. And I think I wore a sparkly headband and a lot of lipstick. So it was like this weird flapper combination thing. But it was interesting that I already got the clue.
Flapper with an extra after school job or something, like part-time job.
A lot of extra credit.
Flapper with a part-time job.
Getting that easy, eh? But it was interesting because already at that age, I had kind of gotten the memo that all girls get, which is Halloween is when you're supposed to be sexy. And I think there's this great scene in Mean Girls where she talks about the rules for Halloween. You know, you can be a sexy cat or a sexy mouse or a sexy whatever. But, dressing up scary is not cool necessarily for girls on Halloween. Yeah. It is cool, by the way. It is super cool.
And you're seeing in social media, actually, those two, like scary versus sexy posts, too. Like, which way am I going to go? It's like, there's a lot of good scary.
So I remember that pretty vividly. And I also remember my mom deciding to make my sister into a pumpkin. But she decided to make her into a pumpkin at the very last minute. And it consisted of, she was like 3 at the time, stapling her into between 2 sheets of construction board and then drawing a pumpkin on her and putting all of this crepe paper around her head to look like green vines. And I remember watching her, and my sister was complaining bitterly that this was stupid and it's just paper and it's going to fall apart. And I was sitting there feeling pretty dubious about my mom's stapling attempts at costume making at the last minute. But I gotta say, it turned out awesome, and I think my sister even won a costume contest. So that was a testament to my mom really being able to MacGyver a costume from whatever was on hand. She was really the champion of creativity and still an inspiration to me about what it means to be a truly creative person.
Yeah. I love that. And what's coming up for me in that story is it's memory making. Like, it's not just, it's Halloween, I'm going to the party, or I'm going trick-or-treating. Like, the whole, the journey getting to the party or going trick-or-treating is, like, something that's important to you and, people can talk about. I don't remember. I remember pictures. I don't remember actual Halloweens. I was reflecting on this morning. I remember lots of animal characters, lots of cat whiskers.
Was it a sexy cat, though?
It was not a sexy cat because it was young, but there's a picture of my sister and I'm crying. I must have not liked the costume. And I suspect, knowing myself, and I'm sweating a little bit right now because I have wool on, I'm really sensitive to anything but cotton. Let's just I love cotton. And I suspect it had something to do with that. I suspect the early fashionista in me was like, this fabric is polyester and it's scratchy and I am pissed. I like being a bear, but I don't like how I feel right now. So I don't know. My mom would probably tell you more, but I don't remember any Halloweens with my brother, which is really sad. We're all 3 years apart. I remember seeing pictures of my sister and then I just remember pillowcases of candy. And that's about it.
Yeah, I remember the trade wars that happened with candy
Yes.
with my sister and I. Like,
Yes.
it wasn't so much about trick-or-treating.
Yes.
It was all about the trade war that would go on afterwards
Yeah.
when we got home and spread everything out and decided who was going to get what. And my sister was 5 years younger, so I kind of had the upper hand in the trade war game.
You're like, look over there. She doesn't know. What's like the worst Halloween candy? What would like the
candy
one?
corn.
I like candy corn.
No. How can you
I like candy corn. But there's something else that like
Are
really
you a
chewy and
representative
honey.
of
No.
the candy corn lobby?
No. No, I have no affiliates. No. There's something really chewy that was kind of like honey chew or something. I don't even know what it was named, but
Bit of honey?
Yes, gross. I hate those.
Gross.
I remember
Yeah.
seeing those. Ugh, those are worse.
I remember getting really sad when fun-sized candy bars came out. What's so fun about anything that small?
That's so small. I know.
That is not fun size.
Well, that's
fun size
marketing.
is bigger.
That's Angel. That's something we know quite a bit about. That's a little like marketing wizard. Oh yeah, let's name it fun, and then it will be fun. But no, it's like half the size. Like the whole thing, trick or treating was to go to the neighborhood that
We're
you knew.
gonna just leave on the table the conversation of bigger is more fun for this Halloween episode.
For this Halloween,
about
yeah.
gender and sexuality. We're not gonna address that at all.
We're not going to address that
Okay.
at all. I let my nieces and nephews tune in at the beginning of the show, but I did warn my stepsister to like maybe after Deeds is revealed to just go away because I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. So yeah, we can.
Okay.
If we felt
PG,
the
got
need,
it.
we could go there. We've passed the PG point. So we kind of both say like we like Halloween. I actually haven't liked it as an adult.
Really?
I haven't really gotten into it.
Huh.
I haven't because I think this is the fashion part of me, and like my favorite class in college when I wanted to be a fashion designer was history of costume, history of like
But then isn't
fashion.
Halloween a perfect time to show
Yes,
that off?
but like the idea you're gonna hate what I'm gonna say because it's gonna trigger something else, but you might not talk about it right now, but we'll know.
Okay.
But I would want, if I was going to lean into those costumes, I'd really want it to be accurate, like. So if I can't pull it off, like I still dream of having like a Gone with the Wind party.
Oh, girl, you and me both.
And walking around in the ball gown.
With
And
the
talking
fabulous
like
hat.
this.
I would so do Gone with the Wind. If you could sew me a Gone with the Wind costume.
I can't sew you a Gone with the Wind costume.
Well, then why are we even talking about this?
I don't know. That's the thing. That's why I like gave up on Halloween. It's like what I want to be. I can't like pull that off.
Well, the funny
There's
thing
probably
is
places to rent.
about, especially for Halloween, Halloween is not a time where people necessarily appreciate or give too much credence to screen accuracy. So if you're doing a costume like Gone to the
Matters
Gone
to
with
me
the
though,
Wind-
Angel.
Right. Well, it definitely matters to some people. But,
Yeah.
it's funny. I was with somebody once at a Halloween party, and he had spent a lot of time investing in a Doctor Who costume where there was, the screen-accurate tweed and the screen-accurate tie. And I was dressed up as a cement statue, which is also from Doctor Who. It's like a weeping angel.
Yeah.
So, if I stood very still, it looked like a cement, graveyard statue.
Yeah.
And then I could scare the crap out of
Oh,
people.
that's awesome.
It was awesome. It was unwieldy at a party, but it was a really amazing party because it had a lot of, door presence where you walk in and everybody's
Yeah.
like, wow, because I looked like I was made of stone. And his costume was way more screen accurate than mine.
Yeah.
He kind of had better casting because he sort of looked like the character. And people were like, oh, you're the nutty professor. And they just went back to their drinking. And I think it was really demoralizing because he had spent
Put
so much time
in it.
And I have to say, I can appreciate that. There is certainly a time and a place for that kind of attention to detail. What's fun about Halloween is it's just about getting the silhouette right and kind of the broad strokes, like with your Stadness costume, obviously.
Age appropriate. Age progression.
Age progression.
Age progression sadness.
But you're not blue, and everybody's still going to get it.
Yeah.
My velvet cape is not the right kind of wool. It's supposed to be a wool cape. My dress is a little too short. My bonnet's not stiff enough. My messenger bag might be the wrong color, but none of those details matter. What really matters is the overall silhouette and, oh, you're doing this show that I really like, or, oh, you're doing this character that I really like. And I think it gives people an opportunity, specifically at parties, to really bond and kind of let loose because you get to take on these new personas.
I agree, and I'm reflecting on a story that I call her my California mom. Shout out to Tish. She's been on the show before. A story that she shared with me just recently, how she just dreamed of being able to go to an event where she could wear a Bob Mackie gown, because that was the thing, at that time. And she's like, she finally had this ball or this gala that she could wear it. And so she goes out and she buys the dress, and she's just like, oh, the dress, and spends all this time getting ready. And the party was a total bust. You know, it was like, oh, and so I kind of agree with that. I can understand, like, you put so much into it. Like, it again is kind of what I've said in my monologue. It's like, you gotta just enjoy the journey. Yeah. And some of it is piecing it together and being okay with it and sharing the mishaps. Yeah. And just playing with it, because it's just playtime, really. You know, at the end of the day, Halloween is like just playtime. Like, we've got a lot of serious stuff going on in the world.
And again, like, it's the one night of the year where you can dress up as anything under the sun. Yeah. And it's kind of a judgment-free zone for the most part. Yeah. I think there are unfortunately still circles and different communities that will look at a person and, you know, make negative judgments on them based on what they're wearing. But for the most part, you can finally dress up as a pretty princess if that's what you want to be, or, you know, a slutty construction worker if that's what you want to be, or age progression sadness. And everybody's going to kind of get a kick out of it, and it's meant to be fun and playful. I think that's the most important part of Halloween is really like embracing the fun and creativity.
This is the adult version of kids like getting a participation award for everything they do, right?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody that participates should get a participation award and a high five and the candy of your choice, and preferably full size.
Especially if you do it on a Tuesday. I think I was reading that like most kids trick or treat regardless of what night of the week it is. But when Halloween falls midweek, costume sales for adults plummet because they're just like, oh, why bother?
Yeah, I went to the party. It's over. I'm not dressing up. Well, what costume have you not been? I revealed mine. I'd want to be Scarlet O'Hara. Like, what have you not dressed as, and you'd want to?
I've always wanted to do Glenda the Good Witch from Wizard of Oz. No, the Good Witch.
Oh, the Good Witch.
The big, poofy, pink. And I actually would love to arrive to a party in a big plastic bubble, you know, the kind that you can, like, walk in. I would love to do that costume. But the reason that I won't do it, even though you can easily rent them from a lot of fancy costume shops here in Hollywood, is I learned my lesson with unwieldy costumes at parties. So there's a difference between a costume that you might wear for a costume contest or on stage versus what you actually want to wear to a party. And
I'm just having like a bathroom scene in my mind go down with this big skirt.
Oh my gosh. Like, the hoop skirt's no good for small bathrooms. And the wings are a problem at parties. So in my Stone Angel costume, I had these big cardboard wings that I was smacking people in the head with, or, you know, somebody would walk behind me and like start carrying me with them. I should have learned my lesson back in the 90s when I was wearing, like, you know, goth fairy costumes, because those wings weren't great either. I guess I have a thing with wings, being named Angel. I can't stop wearing wings.
Gee, I can't imagine why you would have that association. That's hilarious. That makes me think of this. Like, so didn't just recently at one of the Comic-Con, like Comic-Con was happening, and they banned all fake weapons. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? You've been to Comic-Con before, haven't you?
I have. Okay. I'm of two minds. But I'm going to go ahead and make a decision that I think they ultimately did the right thing. Okay. I get why people are upset because a lot of weapons are integral to the silhouette of a costume. And a lot of the weapons are clearly toy grade. And when you have a weapon for a costume at Comic-Con, you actually have to check into a specific booth, and they give you a little tag certifying that it's a toy and that it's safe. And you have to keep it holstered. You can't draw it or walk around, you know, waving your big plastic sword. But people still kind of do that. There's actually an area where LARPers, people who like do role-playing costume that stuff, will go out and
stay in costume
they stay in character. It's not just costume. They stay in character and they actually act things out. And sometimes the people who are into like knights or warrior, you know, characters will go out and battle each other in a certain part of Comic-Con, and it looks kind of realistic because they practice it. But what's really scary is that in a conference hall with hundreds of thousands of people over the course of a 4-day experience, it would be pretty easy to actually sneak a real weapon in, especially with all the fake weapons around. And
but they check everybody.
They do, but you know, with all
are they walking through a metal detector?
They're not. And with capes like this, it would be really easy to hide something. So just saying no weapons makes it so now there's no camouflage. If somebody does, you know, hold up a gun and, you know, shoot a bunch of people, you're not going to like suddenly look around and everybody's got a gun, so which one's real in that heightened, terrifying moment. I think, you know, on the heels of things like the shooting in Vegas, the shooting in Orlando, like the list goes on and on and on, Unfortunately, we have a Congress that refuses to take action and actually make changes for common sense gun reform and gun safety. Because they won't, cultural institutions like Comic-Con have to make decisions that are, sort of down the road. It's down the funnel action that's necessary because top of the funnel action hasn't been taken.
Yeah.
And I think, if serious common sense gun laws were passed and gun reform was passed to make it impossible for, let's say, somebody with a domestic violence history to get a gun, or somebody with history of, a felony, or anybody who might be questionable to have a gun in their possession, shouldn't probably have a gun in their possession. If we were to make gun laws that were more responsible, I think it would be fine for Comic-Con to allow toy guns. But because Congress won't act, institutions like Comic-Con are forced to. It's sad.
It's sad, and there's two things coming up for me when you shared your opinion on this. Is for sure, you don't want people to be desensitized to this problem. So I think even just coming out and saying you can't have these fake guns here, it's because we can't get desensitized to seeing a gun and knowing hey, should I be scared, or should I take cover, should I know where my exits are? So there's one thing. The other thing is it's the worst fear of people that have guns is to have them taken away, which nobody's proposing. Nobody's an advocate for that. We're not, and a lot of the men in my family have guns. I grew up with guns. I don't have a problem with guns because I don't have a problem. I was taught by my uncles and my father and brothers and stuff how to use them. So, but the argument always comes back to, oh, well, if we pass any legislation, they're going to take away our guns. No. Only if you have a criminal record or you have a reason to not have them. You're not going to lose them. And I think it's ironic that, that in a situation where they're not real guns, that's what they decide to do is take them away. And I'm sure the other side's see? They're taking them away. Their point is to take them away. And I'm no, it's just make-believe,
The people who are arguing for, keeping guns unregulated and, being able to add things that make silencers easier to purchase. The people who are saying that no laws can change the gun situation in America are also the same people who are pushing for laws to control abortion. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
If laws do work, then let's pass them and make gun safety a real priority in this country. That brings me back to my Handmaid's Tale.
I was just going to say, well, let's turn this back into Halloween. What you got? First of all, I cannot believe my dog is this comfortable. Look at him. He's he's half on the table. He's half on me. He's made it where I can't drink my water, and I'm hot, and I'm really uncomfortable, but he does not care.
He doesn't care. I mean, I think he's really embodying his character from this morning, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He does not care about your comfort or your rights.
He doesn't care about my comfort. Or that he took my clean water, Puerto Rico. Sorry.
Under his eye.
Sorry. Just snuck out. I don't even know what's happening. I'm in costume. Anyhow, so you were saying?
So I was saying back to, my costume, which is all about control of women's sexuality and control of they have no reproductive rights. They're not even in control of who they're allowed to have sex with, let alone when and how they're allowed to procreate.
Right.
The women who can't procreate are forced to become cooks, wives, or prostitutes, and the women who can procreate are automatically turned into sex slaves. It's really scary. When I watched Handmaid's Tale, it was probably the scariest show I've watched in recent memory, and immediately I was I'm going to definitely have to be that for Halloween because it's the scariest thing I can imagine. And with the weird stuff that's been happening in our country politically for the past 2 years or so, especially over the last year, it rang so true for me that this could happen. This could happen here, and it feels in some ways that little parts of it have happened already.
I think that's the scarier part, is there's the little parts in it. I haven't watched it, but I've read parts of the book. I know what it's about. Parts of the book, that qualifies me to talk about it. I read parts of the book. I'm also referencing my president. I read the cover, so therefore I know what this is all about. But no, that's not what I want to say. But the scariest part is, yes, there are little bits of it that people already can relate to, that they feel oh my God, that's happening. I mean, I don't want this to be a political show, but yeah, birth control, the idea that that there's no responsibility on the other side of this equation, and yet we carry all the responsibility, but we're not supposed to do anything about that responsibility. Like, we're not supposed to, protect ourselves against predators, and which we know they're out there, because that's going on in the news.
To birth control if your employer doesn't want you to have it because of their religious affiliation.
Yes.
But then you also can't get health care to care for yourself while you're pregnant, or health care for that child that you didn't want to have in the first place.
Exactly.
So
it's fun times.
It's kind of like the situation with costumes, where you're damned either way as a woman. You're going to face some judgment, even though it's supposed to be a judge-free zone on Halloween. And if you don't dress up sexy, well, you might find yourself a little less paid attention to that night, which can be a bummer and truly making you sad, not just sad in costume.
Can't go back into character. I don't even know where to go with that. I really don't. Well, yeah, I do, actually. So we're talking about scary things in the world. Let's talk about scary in terms of, do you like being scared?
I love being scared.
What do you like about being scared?
I think I love the feeling of control that it gives me, that I can overcome my fear, actually.
Nice.
When I was a kid, I used to be a little bit scared of the dark, and I remember, I think it was my grandmother, my bubby, saying to me, just pretend that all of the monsters are real and you're the boss of them. You're the boss of all of the monsters. And I would walk down a hallway and think, okay,
I'm
monsters,
your boss.
I'm the boss. So you can't come after me. And I'm like the queen of the fairies, so you can't touch me.
Yeah.
And when I go to a haunted house, I love like Not Scary Farm or the Halloween haunt at Universal. I love haunted hayrides. I love the Demented play. Look it up if you've never been able to go.
The Demented play.
It's a live action play that takes place in different abandoned mansions throughout Hollywood. They stage it in one house each year. I think it actually didn't happen this year for a bunch of weird licensing reasons, but they actually used a ton of practical effects to make it like you're really encountering terrifying things. Like, there was one part of this play where we're running from a bad guy, and there was a human actor spider walking on the ceiling, like Exorcist style. Terrifying.
Oh my God.
There was another scene where we the participants in the play suddenly had psychic powers and could push some monster back, and he went flying down a hallway away from us on jump cables.
Yeah. So
it's all practical effects. It's very realistic looking. All the actors are great. But I love that feeling of I'm overcoming my fear by doing this and walking through the fire. And I think there's this great Charles Bukowski quote that you will be judged by how well you walked through the fire. Mm-hmm. That's what haunted houses are for me. It's me testing how much can I stand up to this and be brave.
And there's the flow of energy that happens too when you're scared. Like,
super
it's
adrenaline rush.
Yeah, that kind of feels good.
Do you like being scared?
I don't. I would probably like the play. I'm probably claustrophobic, and so
you might not like the play then.
And then, so
there's a lot of close
haunted houses when you have to walk through small things.
That.
No, and if smells and close quarters, it doesn't. I don't know. I'm sensitive to smell, and if it's super close, I'm gonna freak out. But I can now see myself going through and going, I'm the boss of you. Get away from me. You can't do that again. That'd be hilarious. That'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, in general, I don't like to be scared.
I
do like roller coasters. I like the other kind of I could almost die on this thing right now, but.
So something that could actually kill you would be more scary to you than something that can't kill you.
Yeah.
Or rather, something that can't kill you, like a dressed up scary clown, would be more scary than something that could kill you.
Possibly. She's questioning this. This will be a lunch conversation later.
I'm giving you that.
Really?
Girl,
I'm going to shrink you later over this. Let's see. Well, let's switch gears. Is there anything else that you want to say about Halloween? You want to wish anybody happy Halloween?
I want to wish my nephews, Jude and Wolfie Kai, a happy Halloween.
What are they going to be for Halloween?
Crap, I don't remember. Oh, no, I don't remember. Oh, no, Jude's going to be Han Solo. I don't remember what Wolfie's going to be. He's probably going to be Chewbacca.
Does anybody think that there was vodka in my cup? Now look at my dog. He's
pass me that mug.
I know, really. I switched him up. I'm sorry. Jeez. He's so warm too. It's just a heat wave coming through. All right, so
You're gonna get into sexy sad afterwards.
I'm going to be
'cause you're gonna
sexy
have to take off
sad.
the
I'm
sweater.
definitely going to have to take off the sweater, and hopefully the wig stays on. I don't know. You haven't seen my blonde hair yet.
No, I can tell it's platinum.
I got platinum hair underneath here. All right, so we'll switch gears. I think we've talked about Halloween sufficiently, and how I switch gears on the show. So I always like to show that at any given time, how we're relating can change. Okay. I do that because I want to, to expose people to thinking there's always more information in the room. Like, we know a little bit about you. We know, where is it? Where's
this information?
Yeah. We know a little bit about how you feel, a little bit about your values and belief, but we don't know Angel yet.
Can anyone really know anyone?
No, but we're going to try in the next couple minutes. So you get to choose if you get a question from the box, which is called Not My Mama's Dinner Party Table Topics.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Oh, now we're awake. Or the book.
Ooh.
Box of book.
I usually like to stay out of the box, but today let's go box.
You want to go box? Okay,
yeah, the
let's
box
go
is
box.
cute and fun.
All right. Deets likes the box too. Well, hello.
Now he's joined in.
Yeah, now he's joined in. All right. What's your guiltiest pleasure?
I don't believe
you only get to skip one question.
I don't believe in guilty pleasure. I believe that pleasure is pleasure, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Next question.
Amen. All right, sister. She is not in costume with that answer. All right. This is a good one. Would you rather be 10% smarter or 10% better looking?
Definitely 10% smarter, because if I was 10% smarter, I could probably figure out ways of adjusting my hair and makeup to get myself to 20% better looking.
I agree with that.
Not to mention earning 20% more.
Amen, sister.
To bring me up to equal pay. Yay!
Amen to that. All right. Do you want to ask me a question? Or do you want another question? You're the guest, so you get to make choices.
I want to ask you a question.
All right. I want the book.
Okay.
So I'm just going to tell you, just flip around and I'll tell you stop.
If you could consciously control your sex drive, do you think your life would be better or worse than it is now? And if you had to permanently double or half your partner's appetite for sex, which would you pick? This isn't two questions. This is all in one paragraph.
Really? Now you're making the rules of my show?
I'm reading what's in the book.
All right. Well, I don't have a partner, so I don't have to answer the second question.
All right.
So read the first one again.
If you could consciously control your sex drive, do you think your life would be better or worse than it is now?
Oh, my goodness. My parents are watching.
I've been trying to steer it into a rated PG-13.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're PG-13.
Let's do this.
Well, so... I kind of do steer it. Like, there's things that I like that I want to do in my life, and sometimes that is a distraction. And so what I want to say, compartmentalize. Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't think that's a good thing to do. I think that sex and physical touch is an important part of well-being and just health and happiness. And so I sometimes feel like I've done that too much because, okay, this goal is important to me, or like I'm taking action because the world is crazy right now and I'm, wanting to move these things forward. So I put it aside.
That's interesting. The question implies that we can't consciously control our sex drive. And what you're saying is, honey, I already do that.
Yeah, I think that you can. We're very
Sometimes
evolved.
Better at it than other times.
Yeah, we're very evolved, species. So I think that you can have some control over things or think that you do, but things sneak up. But yeah,
sure.
I think that you can.
Sometimes it's fun to take off the cap and shake the bottle too.
That's true. That's true. All right, give me one more question.
Okay.
Deeds, you want a question?
If someone you love was brutally murdered and their killer, this is a good Halloween one.
Sure.
We're going to get violent. If someone you love was brutally murdered and their killer was acquitted on a technicality, would you seek revenge? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Read it one more time.
If somebody you love was brutally murdered and their killer was acquitted on a technicality, would you seek revenge?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think I would.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think
I would not have guessed that of you.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of forgiveness and letting go, but I despise people that get away with things that are like doing other people wrong. Like when I see an injustice in the world, like I'm more apt to go after it for somebody else than for me. I feel it's my duty. I can be articulate. I am smart. I can come up with a plan. Like they'll get what they deserve to get.
But in this situation, you would become the avenger.
I know. So there's two sides to this, like how I'd answer it. Like I said, because I do believe in forgiveness. I don't believe in like holding a grudge because that will make you sick. If you hold it. But I would do I would want to do something. I would want to like try, and then if I wasn't successful with it, I would at some point let it go. I think that's probably the plan. Like I would try first, but not get so deep into it that it was consuming me. I would have to like lean into forgiveness at some point. Yeah.
So what you're saying is like you would have this instinctual desire for revenge, but you think that your overall desire for forgiveness would rule out.
Would rule out eventually.
That's kind of what I expected from the Stephanie I know.
From the Stephanie I know. Yeah, well, I mean,
you're a pretty forgiving, awesome person.
I'm pretty consistent too.
Not to say that there isn't a place for vengeance, but I think there's probably more of a need for forgiveness in this world.
I 100% agree with that. I will lean in that direction. Oh. We're in the conversation now. I will lean in that direction more than the other. But things anger me, and I want to fix them, Yeah, dun, dun, dun. That's where we went with that. All right, so we've asked questions. We've talked about Halloween. We've been upstaged by a dog that drank my water.
We did not eat any candy.
I
think that's a travesty.
It's a travesty.
Do we have any treats?
We do have treats. So there's one thing. So you're going to give a treat to somebody.
Yay.
You're going to give two, actually. You get to give two.
Oh, I know of one.
Yeah, you know of one. Well,
okay.
I'm going to tell you about the other one. Okay. So the last thing that I always have people do when they come on the show is what I call heart swell. Mm-hmm. And what it is just like thinking of somebody that you just really want to give a shout out, that they are like making a difference in the world or in your world, and they inspire you, and they just deserve some like heartfelt emotion put on them.
I have such a long list. I can't really narrow it down. Can I give a shout out to a couple people?
Absolutely. So
when I think about
and look at the camera when you do, and like
when I think about the people who make my heart swell, I have to start with my family, who's really, really been there for me. I think the past year has been really challenging for a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and my family, my cousins, my sister, my mom, my auntie, my aunties have all really, really been there for me. I've also been very blessed to have super strong women in my life, like you.
Thank you.
My co-founder, Sarah, who is an amazingly strong woman who I trust to the ends of the earth.
She's awesome.
A lot of female founders and a lot of smart female founding enablers, supporters, have been wonderful. And then I've had some really wonderful new people come into my life in the past several months. I have two roommates who have been an absolute gift from the universe for me. And my Aunt Linda likes to say, there are some people in your life who are flyers, and they will come in for a short period of time, and their role is to show you something really important, or bring you back to a certain part of yourself, or help you in some very, very critical way to your path. And I don't know how long I'll be with these roommates, if they're flyers or not, but they and some other like really amazing people have entered my life recently. And I feel incredibly lucky and gratified to know these people who are creative and kind and compassionate and curious and just absolutely lovely to be around and make me feel very, very happy and peaceful. So
that's awesome.
Going into the holiday season, knowing and loving so many incredible people, I feel like my life is truly blessed.
That's awesome. I love what your aunt said. My grandma would say reason, season, or lifetime. Like people are in your life for reason, season, lifetime. And that's kind of the reason why I do the show. It's like people are important. Like lean into them. Like everybody has some bit of knowledge or experience that just by listening could really, give you something, give you a new experience, make you think a different way, or just really inspire you, and not or making too quick of judgments like, well, you don't fit into my world, or don't fit what I need right now. Like those are missed opportunities for gifts. I think we get them through people. So I like your aunt. She sounds cool.
I have a lot of amazing aunties.
I have
that are actual aunties, and then just women who I feel like they're my spirit auntie.
I got that. I love that.
I have wonderful woman friends.
Yay for women friends. What do you think about that? Dude, he is passed out. He is just like,
It's like he had candy, because this is like sugar high behavior.
He had my vodka and candy. I'm a great dog mom. All right, well, that does bring us to the end of the show, but Angel has another treat for us. So we've talked about nail snaps earlier. is what they look like. And if you guys go way back into the archives, you will know that I wore some vaginas on my fingernails. They were nail snaps. Do you know about this?
Yeah, I remember.
I had my friends'
intergalactic vaginas.
Yes, it was that.
Well, it's not just vaginas that you can wear on your nails.
Yeah, to be clear, all nail snaps are not vaginas.
No, it's a platform that lets you turn your photos into custom nail designs. So you can take a picture of anything: your dog, your cat, your costume, your favorite color, your favorite patterns.
I'm looking forward to doing that for
something
holidays.
Like this.
I'll share a tighter shot of this. It's like just a beautiful like Christmas lights, just really festive for a holiday party.
So you can download the free app, turn any photo into a custom nail design. And
what's the
we
treat
also
you
have ready-made looks on our website at nailsnaps.com. And the treat is that all of the Relate with Steph listeners and followers get a 35% off discount just in time for your holiday shopping. Use the code RELATE at checkout. And you can use that online or through the mobile app. The mobile app is free on the App Store.
The app is amazing. It's just fun playing with it because remember, she came from UX, user experience. She knows what she's doing, so you got to check that out. That's Relate, so you can spell Relate, and you can get cool nail snaps on your nails, and I will, of course, share it in the archives so you can find out about nail snaps. And I think you have to December 31st to get some cool nail snaps, and if you do, share pictures with me. I want to see them.
Yeah, bling for you, gifts for your besties. They are a cool custom stocking stuffer.
Good thing to do for a party. You got someone getting married. You want to do it like the bridesmaids, like matching things, like all kinds of stuff you can do. I love them. It's like costume for your nails. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's a costume for your nails.
Totally a costume for your nails.
You can use that. I'll bill you later. I'll send you my marketing retainer bill later. All right. Well, that does bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much, Angel.
Thank you for having me.
It went by so fast.
I know.
We could have talked about so many things. We went political. We went Halloween. It's all good. I will share nailsnaps.com so everybody can find out where to learn more about nail snaps and the app in the archives, like I said, and the promo code. Next week is the wine edition of Relatable. I have a winemaker that's going to join me in the studio, and possibly there'll be something else in this cup.
I know. I'm going to whine about it.
You can whine about it. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what kind of bottles he brings, and I can share with friends.
You could be a designated taster.
Oh, you could? Okay, we can do that. Could be the driver. No. She's like, no. All right, fine.
That's at odds with my true purpose.
So that's next week. As always, share what's going on. Tell me what's going on at Relate with Steph on Instagram and Facebook, and Love More Now on Twitter. The next PSE is at the end of November, so it's like November 29th, so hope to see everybody there. And as always, the sign-off, hey, Deeds, Mom's got to
put my bonnet back on.
Mom's going to use this here. He's like, I cannot be bothered. As always, I just want to encourage everybody to relate with more curiosity. That's what we need. Just like lean into new experiences and new people and have great conversations and do that with more curiosity. See you next week.
Blessed be the fruit.
Happy Halloween.
You're listening to Relatable with Stephanie Michelle, only on LA Talk Radio.